Alrighty. Good evening, everyone. We're going to give it a few minutes to allow for folks to get on here. We're going to do another live today and I'll go ahead and pop up the alerts. A new tornado watch has just been issued for a narrow area of central Illinois into northwestern Indiana.
Here we go again, John.
Here we go. Matt Griffin, I'm going to show his map here in a minute, absolutely nailed this forecast in terms of the severe area. Looks like I gave it an A+, Matt.
I hope so. You going to show it, John? You going to show the masses?
I am. Yep. Okay. Just sent that out on Clarity to get folks on here as well. Well, this one's got Noah's name on it.
Oh, well.
So I think maybe it's Noah's forecast.
Sure. Hey, give him all the credit. Great job, Noah.
Anyway,
Mark.
Yep.
Thanks for joining. Appreciate you. Dennis asking about Cheriton. We'll get into it all here.
Yep.
We got a few folks who've joined in here, John. We could probably go ahead and get into the latest, and we'll try to get to some questions as we go along as well. But really, you can see the tornado watch just west of Kokomo, Indiana, through northern Illinois, Bloomington, Peoria, by Burlington, Iowa, and then really getting into southern Iowa as well. That's along a warm front that is extending east of a low that's now at this point into southwestern Iowa, at least near southwestern Iowa. And, we've got a lot of instability on the south side of this warm front. And we did have a tornado warning I think it was by Fowler, John, earlier this morning. We've had one or two into Illinois this afternoon. I think there was one to extreme southwestern Iowa, maybe northern Missouri, John, as well. And so, unfortunately, we will have the risk of some rotating storms again this afternoon. I think especially this afternoon while we have the most instability available to us right now. Are there any tornado warnings ongoing, John?
We do. We've got one that is just west of Bloomington, Illinois, south of Peoria, that is starting to move into Green Valley. Is it Delavan, Matt?
Hey, it's your guess as good as mine.
Gotcha.
But that sounds right. I'm sure if someone lives by there, they can correct us if we're pronouncing that wrong.
Sure.
Certainly see some rotation in that cell, John.
Yep.
Let's
look here.
Let's do it again, John. We got some good practice last night, timing some of this stuff out. What speeds were we getting of this, John?
Let me check with the team.
I can attempt to time it out. 2-inch hail as well, John, with that particular cell.
Yep.
So large hail, damaging winds. That's also going to be a risk tonight with some of these storms.
Matt, I just got about 24 on it.
Okay. Columbus, Indiana, Kelly, don't have to worry about anything. This activity is well to your north.
Here's the area of rotation that we're tracking as it pushes to the northeast. Matt, this storm has confirmed the 2-inch hail. That has been confirmed as well. And there is a it looks like Train Spotter reported a funnel cloud about 20 minutes ago from the same cell. So more than likely a wall cloud. Thank you, Nick. I appreciate it. Okay, you just got 25. Let's do a timer as this cell continues to push more.
And that's the area too. I think especially, John, that's the area I was most concerned about, Western Illinois, with the rotating storms. But certainly some rotation had been noted in northwestern Indiana. They're actually, John, go ahead and time out that cell by Deer Creek, Indiana. just southeast of Camden. There's a little bit of rotation in that cell as well.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and pivot there. This timing, a reminder, subtract an hour, you'll get your central time. I've timed out to the leading edge of where the rotation is on radar and the hail core that is producing 2 inches in diameter. So that's hen egg sized hail. Mackinac 615 Central, Morton 611, Groveland 601, Green Valley. This is likely just going to be in the next few minutes. You'll start to see that area of rotation. Green Valley specifically, make sure you are in your shelter at this point. Tremont 559 Central.
I'm going to address a few of these questions, John.
Sure.
A lot of questions coming in about Indiana. Kokomo, just worth watching some of those storms to your south and west. Frankfurt, you're probably in the clear because these storms look like are splitting you east and west. And it's especially the storms we see on the radar now that are of concern. So you'll probably be good in Frankfurt.
Matt, let me know if you disagree with this line. This might be helpful. I know we're watching a couple of these storms near Cincinnati and Dayton for some stronger gusts, maybe some hail, but I feel the threat at this point for especially tornadoes and damaging winds is near zero south of the blue line, at least for the evening and foreseeable future. Yeah,
if you're south of the blue line, if I have to be honest, you don't need to be watching the stream unless you're just curious about kind of live storm coverage.
Yep. So yeah, as Matt said, just if you are south of the blue line, this stream is not for you. It's for locations north of the blue line and especially in the tornado watch zones.
I mean, they're happy to join.
Yes, please join. Don't take me wrong. I'm just saying there's no strong or severe thunderstorm risk for you. So today it's thankfully shifted a bit north.
Randy, good to see you. I honestly think the tornado threat overall stays to your south. Probably get some loud thunderstorms tonight. I especially for Chicago. I'm especially concerned about flooding concerns. I suppose the tornado risk is non-zero, but the best instability will likely set up just south of Chicago. So I think that's where the best severe tornadic risk will be.
Matt, I don't disagree with you on this Deer Creek cell. It does appear to be some rotation now just east of Flora, Indiana.
Randy, I am on board with the flash flood watch. I don't know if you got a chance to check out the reel I sent out earlier today, Randy, in the Clarity application, but I did include Chicago in an elevated flash flooding risk area. Concerned about some training thunderstorms there tonight. John, what's that?
So that's the area, Matt, of the rotation that you were mentioning. I do see it.
There is some rotation there, John. I see a little notch, a little kink in that particular cell. May need a tornado warning, John.
Yeah.
You know what? If anyone's watching, you're kind of by Carrollton, just south of Deer Creek, kind of into that area. Go ahead and do me a favor. Go ahead and seek shelter. I think that would be the safe move to do at this distance.
Getting close to 21 miles per hour. I'm going to use the storm tracker tool. Quick reminder as well, everyone, with the NWS alerts and the BAM alerts, they are location specific. So when you have clarity and you scan that QR code in the upper right-hand corner for your location, it will send you it whenever that alert or warning is posted immediately. So that you don't have to worry about what county am I in or why are the tornado sirens. You can know just for your specific location where those alerts are, and you'll have the ability to stay informed and seek shelter when needed.
Claudette, I believe that's you, Claudette. Kokomo, it's just worth watching those cells to your south. Right now they are behaving themselves, so to speak. But we'll just be keeping an eye on them, see if they can get any rotation. I'm personally a little bit more concerned about the storms just to the north of Kokomo because they're right along the warm front. It seems to be those storms further north that seemingly have picked up more of rotation characteristics to them. But worth watching. John, I would even say southwest of Lafayette, southwest of Shadeland. Little hook notch trying to develop in that cell as well, and some weak rotation showing up.
Yep, I see it. It's
John, it sounds
well,
like according to Bradford, looks like weak tornado just east of Florida. Storm chasers on it.
okay.
And so,
We are issuing a tornado warning right now for that Deer Creek cell.
okay, perfect. And there's the timing. I think especially, John, let me know if you would agree with me based off the timing. In my apologies, guys, if you hear some loud screaming in the background, it's my daughter. Kind of by Carrollton, south of Deer Creek. That seems to be where that area of rotation is heading. I think that's
There's
what's
our
the county
tornado warning.
above Howard County, the extreme northwestern Howard County? Perhaps approaching Galveston, Indiana. I think someone asked about Peru. The track of the storm right now would have it slide just south of Peru.
And this timing right here, if you can see on the edge, Carrollton, we're watching this. I think the main area of rotations, or it sounds like we have a possible tornado here, Matt, stays just north of Carrollton. But this faint line, if you can see that here, this is the 653 line. So as that storm approaches, this is your 653 timing.
Okay.
Galveston
Thank you,
going
guys.
to be 722 Eastern.
Galveston, James, if you're in Galveston, I would be concerned in Galveston, just the track of that.
Cass County, yep.
So,
Cass County, that's right, yep.
John, zoom into the timing. I don't know if the Galveston will show up. Someone asked about Galveston.
It is. Let me zoom in. We're not getting, there's not much here in terms of cities, so I don't think
722.
Yep, 722 for Galveston.
Yep. Somebody also asked about Logansport. It's pretty far north, John.
Yeah.
I'm concerned the best rotation and where the instability sets up may just be to the south. Keep in mind, obviously, this Deer Creek cell, we're about ready to put a BAM tornado warning on it. It's certainly, according to some reports, a weak tornado on the ground, and I see the rotation. It's got that look on the radar. The two other cells, John, we're watching, I haven't looked at Illinois in a whole lot of detail, some of the recent scans, but south of Lafayette, south of Shadeland, that would be the next cell to monitor for. And then we do have that, obviously, that tornado warned storm south of Peoria by Delavan, Green Valley, Illinois. John, there may be a separate area of rotation developing in that particular storm, but by Green Valley.
Matt, yeah. real quick, we have issued the tornado warning that does include Carrollton, Galveston from our team. We just issued a BAM tornado alert for that cell. Okay. Howard County, the extreme northwestern portions of your county is included in that BAM tornado warning. Kokomo is not. I favor that storm to stay well to the north, or the area of rotation rather, to stay well to the north of Kokomo. Matt, I see this cell here southwest of Shadeland. The past couple radar scans, it's very weak rotation. It's there, yeah. But in my opinion, I don't think that warrants a warning just yet.
Not yet, but it's worth monitoring, I think,
Yep.
at the moment. Someone asked about Peru. In fact, a couple questions about Peru. Where this rotation is currently tracking, in my opinion, it would go south of Peru, the area of rotation. So these are the
areas of Tippecanoe County that we need to keep an eye on the southern edge of this cell for a brief tornado. Again, right now, rotation is fairly weak, but those would be the locations to monitor.
Morgan County, that's down south. Yeah, if you're in southern Indiana, unless you just enjoy live stream coverage, the storms, you got nothing to be concerned about this afternoon.
Matt, what was that other you were talking about? I know you mentioned Central Illinois, but there was another cell that you saw with some potential rotation on it.
I'm looking at that cell that's tornado warned, again by Delavan, south of Peoria. It's developing a secondary hook south of Dillon. And so I'm curious, John, if it's trying to develop a secondary area of rotation on that particular storm. You can see that second notch. Yep. Obviously, there's that first notch, pretty impressive notch in that particular storm.
Mm-hmm.
So worth watching. And again, the area, and especially Western Illinois, the ingredients are a little bit better there, John. And so I think any of these storms in Illinois just need to be watched pretty closely for a tornado. John, did you time out that one by Peoria?
Yes, I did. I literally, as you said that, I just got rid of the timing graphic, so I can
Okay.
go ahead and do that here in a second. Matt, we do have a confirmed report on this cell of a funnel cloud, another funnel cloud report on it just to the southwest of Green Valley, which given what we're seeing on radar, does not surprise me that we're likely dealing with a lowering wall cloud or some type of funnel. It does appear that the worst of the rotation is just south of Green Valley, but if you are in this zone especially, definitely heed that warning, remain in shelter as the storm passes. Hopedale would be up next east of 155. I would expect to see some type of a tornado warning extension further to the east, perhaps to encompass both Dillon and Hopedale.
Yeah, I would agree. If you're talking about Emily, Crawfordsville, Indiana, no, the storms are well north of you. Muncie, storms are north of you. Mooresville, it's north of you. Indy, it's north of you. Newcastle, it's north of you. Someone asked about where are these storms going. Are they going straight, John? And maybe if you can loop the radar to give people a sense of how these are moving more or less.
Turn on the national radar. Right now, the storms in north central Indiana, so that cell that's just to the north of Kokomo, it's got more of an eastward track. That's because it's rotating so well. It's wanting to push to the east. Everywhere else, especially into central Illinois, they are wanting to move a bit more to the northeast, and they're lifting into that tornado watch area, and that's the warm front. So the warm front that's aiding in this thunderstorm development is indeed pushing to the north. So as Matt mentioned, and it's no coincidence that we're seeing greater storm development in these areas as a result of that influx of moisture, so to speak.
Yeah. A couple of folks asked about Kokomo, that particular storm by Deer Creek, which we do have a BAM tornado warning. John, in fact, put our alerts. Oh, there they are. We do have a BAM tornado warning north of Kokomo. The rotation looks like it's going to go north of Kokomo, but if you're in northern Howard County, towards Galveston, south of Peru, those would be areas I would be watching for that tornado. And we do have, again, our own custom BAM warning along that particular cell, because there's definitely rotation, and someone reported earlier, John, of a weak tornado, actually, some storm chasers on it. For Fort Wayne, wouldn't be shocked if you get a stronger storm tonight. I think rotation-wise, they're going to struggle to pick up on that rotation further to the east, and coverage is going to be likely a little bit more sporadic. Worth keeping an eye on the radar tonight, I think.
Matt,
OB West.
Sim radar I was liking was 17Z. I want to keep an eye on these two tornado warnings especially, but I was thinking about showing that as a general northward lifting favored sim.
Marion, right now the storms look like they're going to go to your north. Again, if you're in Kokomo, Marion, Fairmount, just worth watching some of these cells that are just south of that cell by Green or Deer Creek, that is. But right now they are what I would call behaving themselves. Mm-hmm. So we'll just keep an eye on it if they intensify a little bit. But the storms further to the north, they're right along the warm front. And so there's no surprise why they're got the tornado warning and severe thunderstorm warning too, John.
Yes.
Mind you.
I would say the two storms that are not behaving themselves or posing the greater strong to severe thunderstorm risk would be these two I'm circling right here. The one near Lafayette and the area of interest that is in southern Tippecanoe County, we're keeping an eye on some weak rotation. That's continuing to move more towards the northeast, but not enough to warrant a warning yet, either by BAM or NWS in our opinion. Jesse, Indy, you don't have to worry about. Stay to your north.
Yep.
Indy's fine.
Perfect, Millie. Shelbyville, well to your north. I don't know if John mentioned Shelbyville. They did just put a strong storm statement on that, John. 40-mile-per-hour winds and 3/4 inch hail Again, that's the storm in southern Tippecanoe County, just south of Lafayette. There is some weak rotation in that cell, but especially concerned about that storm there by Deer Creek, just going to clip extreme northwestern Howard County and then getting into southern Cass County.
Yeah, you can even see on our local radar the hook there that is now just north of Carrollton, right? It's not Carlton, it's Carrollton, right?
I think so, John.
Okay.
I've only lived in Indiana basically my whole life.
Yeah, so have I, and clearly that's not helped me enough.
This year things are looking good for you. Based on the current radar, storms are pulling north. John, it'll be worth watching too, maybe as well, the storm north of Converse by Amboy.
Yep, I was about to say we're starting to get a little bit of some turn on it. Very weak
rotation. Right now does not warrant a tornado warning, but you can see that little hooking nature, right, of that particular storm. It's worth keeping an eye on. But some rotation, that storm by Deer Creek. Again, if you are kind of just between Carrollton and Deer Creek towards Galveston, do me a favor, go ahead and seek shelter. No sense to play around with that particular storm. Lindsay said we pronounced it right. Perfect.
Excellent. Fort Wayne question. Tyler, I do think that we need to keep an eye on some strong to severe thunderstorm risks as these cells push further to the northeast. I can't say in Fort Wayne I'm impressed with the tornado risk, Matt. I feel it's going to be more of a small hail gusty wind. I think it's low end, and I think a great visual would be our severe map here to show where that better potential exists.
John, by the way, you called it, that storm off in Illinois. They did issue a tornado warning for Hopedale, Dillon, Tremont, in Illinois.
There we go. I see that. Wow, it's got a impressive hail signature there, 70. And this storm has a history of producing 2-inch diameter hail, so that exceeds golf ball sized hail.
John, that's a heck of a storm. Seeing if there's anything on correlation coefficient. I'm not seeing anything, John, that sticks out to me.
I'm not. The only thing that I am seeing is confirmation of severe hail right here. It's the radar beam hitting from the southeast, the hailstones, and then being reflected or refracted back. So that's why you're seeing the differentiation there. Very dangerous hailstorm as well. Of course, the main concern is the tornado warning. It appears, Matt, as it orients itself more to the northeast, it looks like it'll be a bit closer to Hopedale than Dillon or Tremont. Dillon, you're dealing with the large hail, I'm sure, but I would say in terms of its track,
John, it's kind of posted up. John, it hasn't moved really.
Yeah.
It's kind of latched itself. It's just kind of sitting. John, it really hasn't moved over the past couple frames, which is a little bit disturbing.
Yeah.
So, if you're in Dillon, Hopedale, out ahead of that, across the interstate, go ahead, seek shelter. I mean, for Dillon, gosh, I mean, that hail is just hail core sitting right over you right now. That's going to be an absolutely nasty hailstorm, John.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Josh, if you're talking further south, it's probably just with the lack of forcing. The storms up north have a warm front to deal with. Further to the south, there's just, as far as upward motion, we're kind of losing it. John, let's go back over to the storms in northern Indiana. D, you're in Galveston. Thanks for the heads up. Yeah. D, go ahead and do me a favor and just seek shelter right now. I think that would be the safe move for you. We see some rotation. I know the National Weather Service does not have a tornado warning on that, but some of the reports we got in the comments a weak tornado apparently. I do see the rotation on the radar, given where it's at along the warm front and so the history of some of these storms too, John. I would go ahead and seek shelter. John, real quickly, that storm in south of Lafayette in southern Tippecanoe County, rotation does look like it's starting to pick up a little bit.
Yep.
That may need to go tornado warned. Again, southern Tippecanoe County, south of Lafayette. Looks like Lafayette, you're going to miss out on that. Maybe the southeast side of Lafayette, John, far southeast side of Lafayette. Towards
Yeah,
Dayton.
this is where I'm seeing that rotation, Matt. I think it should remain southeast of Lafayette. It's going to cross I-65 as it approaches Dayton, Indiana. Let's go ahead and get some timing information on this. Continuing to see rotation. It's weaker, but it's getting a bit more organized over the past couple of frames. Matt, I'm going to time this out, and then I want to show a picture that Hope just sent in. See, we were getting about 23. I don't think that helped anything. It's in an area right now, Matt, where there's just not many towns, which is good news, but it's going to eventually start moving.
No, to answer your question, someone asked, is that storm south of Lafayette concern for Kokomo? No.
Okay, I'm not sure what's going on here. Rossville, 725 Eastern, and then this red line, this edge right here is where we need to watch for 710 Eastern. Dayton, you're the main concern at this point. Dayton, Indiana, 705 Eastern is when and that would also represent the I-65 corridor as well. 705 for when the area of rotation begins to pass near and or over your location.
Christina, just tag us on Facebook. That'd probably be the easiest way, or send us a DM of the picture. Muncie, threat's going to be to your north. Someone's asking, will these storms hit Macy, Indiana? I have no clue where Macy, Indiana is at, John. Do you by chance?
I do not.
For those, it looks like, John, the team is going to issue a BAM tornado warning with that storm south of Lafayette.
Okay, perfect. One thing I do want to mention, Matt, is for those of you watching northeastern Indiana, these two cells, the one just to the south of Wabash and just to the southeast of Logansport, those are the ones we need to watch to move into the area. As they push more east, northeast, I think the tornado risks can slowly weaken, but the localized risks for hail and damaging wind gusts can continue in these zones as that warm front extends to the north. So at least over the next couple of hours, there are still some localized risks that we will need to monitor as well. There's our BAM tornado warning that has been issued. That does include Rossville, Indiana, Dayton, Indiana, and just to the southwest of Flora. And I'm starting to see a rotation become a bit stronger as it approaches Dayton based on the last scan here.
John, you were getting 25 miles per hour. Is that correct?
23 on this cell. Yep.
So about 23, 25 miles per hour. So it's worth watching these storms if you're towards Wabash, Huntington, Lancaster, as they do drift northeast. I would say, John, over the next 1 to 2 hours.
Yes.
The better rotation will probably be just to the west of those locations, but it's worth monitoring closely those storms, say in like Huntington County, Wabash County, etc.
So for those of you that are just joining us, we have a tornado watch that is in effect for portions of northwestern Indiana, central Illinois. I'll put on the national radar. Even that cell that is now moving east right along the Howard County border into Wabash, Grant County. I know there's no tornado watch, but that's certainly a risk we need to continue to monitor. Remember, tornadoes don't care, or storms that are capable of producing tornadoes, they don't care where the watch zones are. They're just going to keep on going. So these zones in particular, we need to watch for that cell that's working from the west to the east. Our team of meteorologists is continuing to put out nowcasts for these systems and custom BAM alerts. Remember, if you scan that QR code in the upper right-hand corner, you can always be up to date with the latest information. Our meteorology teams from this morning put out forecast reels, video updates discussing these very risks well in advance. So make sure to if you're wanting to have that extra step to keep your family safe or your business, definitely check that out.
Mallory, northwestern Ohio, in my opinion, you'll likely avoid a tornado risk. I mean, some of these storms I do think eventually get into northwestern Ohio. The risk is awfully low, in my opinion, there. I'm not sure where you're at in northwestern Ohio.
Matt,
it looks like the area of rotation is going to pass just to your southeast.
Matt, I hadn't had a chance to show this picture yet. This was earlier from Carrollton, Indiana. Hope sent this in the chat. Ethan B had this. Definitely can see some type of a wall cloud there,
Yeah.
which confirms the structure. And Matt, if you look at that same cell right now over approaching Galveston now, it's messy, but at the same time, Matt, on velocity, it looks like it's trying to get organized. There's a sudden uptick in lightning there as well to suggest some, wow, okay.
John, if you look in our Slack channel, Noblesville Scanner sent a picture on Instagram. Hope just sent it. And it looks similar to that picture you just showed. It's certainly a lowering. Looks to me like a wall cloud looking at it at this distance. I don't see anything beneath the wall cloud. But guys, when we talk about a wall cloud, that is typically the precursor for a tornado. So you get these wall clouds to form. It's a lowering of the cloud base. It's a swirling of the winds, so to speak. And usually tornadoes stem from those particular wall clouds. So the fact that there is a wall cloud there means that we certainly have a threat for a tornado, in my opinion. I still see the rotation there, John, like you said, kind of along the Howard Cass border, approaching Galveston. I know there was somebody in Galveston who was watching. Again, if you're in Galveston, go ahead and do me a favor and seek shelter.
And it's worth noting, Matt, that the current area of strongest rotation is right along the county border. It's right along this county border. Just the far northwestern part of Howard County is where it's located. It's based on pictures. You're in your ag country there as well. Hopefully we can get some good, safe vantage points on it, and we'll know if something touches down. But as Matt mentioned, Galveston, Indiana, please go ahead and seek shelter until this storm passes. There is some decent hail signatures in there as well. And look at all those lightning strikes, Matt, in the past 3 minutes there. So when we're looking at lightning strikes, guys, that can be a very good indicator of a strengthening updraft, and that can lead to greater hail sizes, better rotation, ultimately just another signal we can use to show an intensifying thunderstorm as it continues to push to the east.
Live south of Peru right now. Can hear the thunder coming. Yeah, Ashley, I don't know where you're at south of Peru, but you're in a spot where I think that rotation can track over. Peru itself looks like the rotation is going to pass to the south of Peru.
Matt, we've got a confirmed tornado south of it's that cell south of Peoria. I will go ahead and pop up our local radar. I'm not sure if it's been sighted or if it's NWS confirmed.
I don't know, John, but that hail is kind of unbelievable on that storm.
Yep.
Looks like a nasty hook.
Yep.
On that storm, John. I'm looking at the velocities and it's hard to tell exactly where the tight rotation would be, but it's observed tornado. So if you're in that tornado warning, it's observed tornado apparently. Go ahead and seek shelter. Broadcast media confirmed tornado.
Okay, broadcast media.
Yep.
And important to note as well that the rotation I'm seeing on velocity is broad, but there's likely at that point then a confirmed tornado getting ready to cross 155. If you are in Hopedale, Illinois, please seek shelter immediately. We will need to watch for this warning to likely be extended a little bit further to the east. I'm going to go ahead and time this out for Bloomington, Danvers, Normal, Carlock, Illinois, just so they can have a little bit of a heads up on when the cell will arrive. Obviously, those locations not under the tornado warning just yet. Stephanie, we will circle back to that area in just a moment. Matt, I was still roughly getting about 25. Yep.
The cell by Sharpsville, south of Kokomo. Again, it's just worth watching. It's starting to develop some lightning, but right now I don't see anything rotation that has me concerned. So at the moment, not worried about it. Rossville, Indiana just got BAM tornado warning. Can I get an update? In Rossville, yeah, that's with that rotation now on the southeast side of Lafayette. I'm not sure where you're at in comparison to Rossville, if you're on the south side, north side, west side, but I would seek shelter with that particular storm. John, you were getting about 13 or 23 miles per hour, that storm by Lafayette. So
there we go, Matt. I just figured it out. It's my lightning that's on that was causing our cities to not show up. I want to pivot back there, Matt. Give me 1 second. Stanford, 6:35 Central. Danvers, 6:38 Central. Bloomington, Illinois, around 7:05 Central. So this is for the tornado warned storm that has a confirmed tornado via the broadcast media that is now crossing over 155. So there's a quick
Rossville, I would say 7:30. I would go ahead and seek shelter. Kokomo, right now, the area of rotation is to your north. I know you've got a cell starting to pop up and come in from the southwest, but right now, don't see any rotation in that storm. It's a storm on far northern Howard County. Southern Cass.
They did just put that Dayton cell under a severe thunderstorm warning. Tornado possible on the tag.
Well, we've already got a BAM tornado warning on it for sure. John, I continue to see some rotation in that cell to the east. Now north of Converse, south of Wabash. A little bit of rotation in that cell as well. Be worth keeping a close eye on. Would start to get into Huntington County, John, in about about a half hour or so, around 7:40, using 23 miles per hour.
Be near Lancaster, Indiana, about 7.
Jamie, good to see you again.
And yeah, 30 minutes for the county border.
Yep.
There's a severe thunderstorm warning for Matt.
Okay, perfect. Jamie says he's watching a stream of that cell in Illinois. Has a funnel, but not currently on the ground. And there was an observed tornado warning. So maybe at one point it was on the ground. Pouring in Tipton County. Yep, that cell further to the south. Again, that cell that's approaching Kokomo on the south side, John. I just don't see any rotation on it.
I don't either. I think it can have some small hail on it. Betsy, Sharpsville, outside of a downpour, perhaps a gust of 30, I think Sharpsville should be good. Not seeing any rotation with that cell either. You're on the southern edge of this round at this point.
John, I suppose good news for that cell by Galveston, that cell to the south may end up disturbing its inflow a little bit.
I agree. I think it's messy. That's always the problem with these warm fronts, Matt. The warm air advection is getting to the point where it's just pushing more and more rain and radar crap, so to speak, into where the inflow is. But good news. But that is good news for limiting the tornado threat.
John, I think that's the technical phrasing. Radar crap.
Yep. Right. Yep. Radar crap. I agree. Yeah.
Likewise, Jamie. Likewise. Appreciate you. Sharpsville, good. Again, John was saying gusts near 30 miles per hour. No rotation of concern.
Just to take a quick moment here, these types of events can be very sneaky, pop up on people that are not expecting it. So share this with friends. Give us a like on our page. Make sure if you have anyone that's in the path of these storms we've been talking about are aware of this. I know it's been decent out today, so I don't want, if there's any outdoor events, make sure people are aware.
Absolutely, John.
Here's a nowcast that meteorologist Tyler Riggles just put out. This is back towards that central Illinois cell that is approaching Bloomington, Illinois. It's covered up, but that's where normal Illinois pushing to the east. There's your latest timing on that.
John, real quick, just noting the cell. Gosh, I'm trying to find a good spot for you. The county south of Kankakee, Illinois, approaching the Indiana border, Fountain Creek, Illinois. There is some rotation starting to pop up in that storm. In fact, that may need a tornado warning. Yep, that particular storm right there.
Sirens are sounding in Grant County, FYI, Matt. That would be Marion, Indiana.
Okay.
Yep. Matt, I do see it. It might need a warning here eventually. It might need a bit more time to mature, but it does look like it is the core of it's intensifying. This is the area that Matt and I are discussing for some type of potential warning here in the near future. Wellington, Fountain Creek. We'll need to keep an eye on that.
Yep. That storm's passing north of Marion, by the way. Yep. Well north of Marion. That's going to be on the far northern side of the county, kind of hugging the county border. Some weak rotation, John, I still see in that particular cell. That too may require a tornado warning as we draw closer.
Yep. But right now, Marion is not under any type of a tornado threat at this time. Marion itself is not under any type of tornado threat. The far northernmost portions of Grant County are being affected by this severe thunderstorm warning and area of rotation that we have been tracking. There is still or maybe Matt may have already mentioned this, Keith. There is some rotation still just to the south of Galveston, although it's looking at it, it's not quite as impressive originally. We continue to maintain a BAM tornado warning on that, which I do not disagree with.
Alexandria is too far south. Don't have to worry about it. The storm by Kokomo, no rotation. You don't have to worry about it. Fairmount, too far south. You don't have to worry about it. Frankfurt, too far south. You don't have to worry about it.
I think dark mode's a bit easier to see. Let me know if you guys don't like dark mode and you like light mode better, but I think dark mode's easier to see on the local radar. South Whitley, west of Fort Wayne, Columbia City, north of Huntington. Let's keep an eye on this cell that's working its way now southern Wabash, north of Marion. I'll draw it. I'm skeptical of the tornado risk getting too far to the northeast, but this area of storms is what I'm watching that can start to slide more to the northeast. Huntington, I think there's a low end tornado risk. We get towards Columbia City, Allen, and Whitley, I believe. I think we start to see more of a wind hail. I don't think the tornado risk can extend as far northeast.
Another question from Peru. Again, the area of rotation we see is going to pass south of Peru. This is the south side of the county we'd be most concerned about, just east of Galveston. The area of rotation's over Galveston as we speak. Peru, the rotation that we're looking at with this particular storm looks like it's going to pass to your south. John, the folks like dark mode.
Perfect. All right, good.
Delaware County, you should be good. It's going to pass north. Peru, again, that's the multiple questions about Peru, John. The area of rotation we're looking at is passing south of Peru.
And I also want to point out we have expired the tornado warning for Galveston. Rotation is very broad and breaking apart at this point. So there's no BAM tornado warning anymore near Galveston. Continue to be vigilant as this is a severe thunderstorm that is still pushing from west to east. But in our opinion, we do not favor any additional tornado potential at this time.
Nice little hail core, John, developed over Kokomo.
Yep. Fowler, Indiana. That's Benton County, I believe. You should be getting another round of thunderstorms here shortly. This was the area that Matt and I were watching between Wellington and Fountain Creek. Let's keep an eye on some hail and or some additional rotation risks as that starts to push to the east and cross the Illinois-Indiana border. I do not think you're out of the woods yet if you're in Fowler or Benton County.
No. I certainly see that rotation by Fountain Creek, Illinois. Mm-hmm. And John, that storm off to the west, I don't want to forget about the good folks of Illinois.
Matt, this looks very mean on radar right now.
Wow.
I would say radar confirmed easily.
John, north of Hopedale, that's a nice area of rotation. Go ahead, John, and time that one out for folks who may be watching that, because that is a nasty looking storm.
I'm going to use here in this, and it's moving slowly, so there is time to seek shelter. I am going to use Tyler Riggles's nowcast that he just put out a little under 10 minutes ago. Bloomington, Illinois, and normal, that's going to be 7:10 Central. 7:10 Central for that arrival. And just I'll interpolate here the areas. Minier, I'm not sure about that. And I would say your timing, you're looking at closer to around 6:35 Central.
Man, that's a hell of a storm, John.
Yeah. And this storm, continuing to be capable and has produced golf ball sized hail to 2-inch sized hail.
John, it does, to me, looks like it's really trying to get right moving. I wouldn't completely, John, if this thing can really get going, perhaps even towards Bloomington, Illinois.
I agree, and I think that's what Tyler was thinking as well. Why he included them in the nowcast, as I think it can continue to sustain, which would not be good. That's a highly populated area during the PM. So concerned about this cell if you're further to the east, especially towards that 7439 interchange. I'm keeping a very close eye on this particular cell. Caitlin, this specific activity, Central Indiana, no. These cells are going to continue to lift slowly further to the north. Pendleton, Indiana, no concerns. Kokomo, you're getting a stronger storm right now, likely with some small hail, a few gusts.
Florida, no. These storms are well to your north.
Yeah, O'Connorsville. I didn't see that question. Yeah, well to your north.
Okay. Again, just west of Bloomington, that storm, that's probably the nastiest storm out there. We continue to watch this storm approaching the Indiana border, just west of Fowler. John, is that Benton County?
Yeah, Fowler. Yeah, that's Benton County, and they were under a tornado warning already earlier today. They were the first up.
Yep, they were the first ones. Watching that storm closely as it moves east. So some of you folks in Benton County, watch that storm out to the west closely. We're still getting about 25 miles per hour, John, correct?
Yes, about 25. It does appear that our team, I think that's the cell. We'll wait for them to issue it, but I believe we're issuing some type of a warning for that cell as we speak.
Okay. So that's about 35 minutes out, John, 36 minutes out from getting to the western portions of Benton County. So that's around 7:55-ish, 8.
Yep.
Lebanon, Indiana, well north of you. Phil, I'm not sure. Let me reassess that. I don't know if it's putting out an outflow. It may be starting to develop one, Phil. Maybe it's the storm itself starting to wrap up in itself. Hard to say for sure, Phil. We need just a few more radar scans. Hopefully it does.
So what yours, Matt, based on what I'm seeing here on that particular cell, Phil, to answer your question, this front area that you see, that green area that's to the south, that would typically be the gust front associated with the rear flank downdraft. That would be your typical supercell setup there. Regardless, that would bring some additional strong gusts for locations that are south of where the greater rotation is. Okay, we do have a new BAM tornado warning that has been issued. Wellington, Fountain Creek, I believe Ambia, and that's just inside Indiana. And I don't mind. I don't mind anticipating the rotation here, Matt, of it being a bit to the south of Wellington. We may need to see if it can extend a little bit closer to Stockland and towards the border, especially over the next 10 minutes. So if you're in I'm going to go ahead and circle these zones up here as well, just to be on the lookout for some extensions of this. We're keeping a close eye in a bit of a radar hole here, Matt.
Yeah, we're getting pretty far away from the radar. John, I still see that storm now south of LaFontaine, Indiana, still has some rotation in it. Again, that particular storm, I think I saw a question earlier about Huntington, Indiana. That particular storm would pass south of Huntington, but southern portions of Huntington County, worth watching that. Again, we've been getting about 25 miles per hour. It's about, area of rotation is about 5.8 miles out. So if I do a little math, that puts it about 10 minutes out. So 7:33, 7:35, southwestern Huntington County. Kokomo right now is just a nasty little storm moving overhead. No rotation noted.
Yeah, Matt, I'm not. We're all chatting in here. We're not very excited with this cell anymore. That is just crossing the border. I think it's lost its rotation. We've went ahead and expired that tornado warning. Just looks a bit too messy. I'm not seeing. I don't think we're seeing anything much of concern there at this point.
Okay. It's worth watching, I think, still at this point. Just need to see how it tracks. John, we may be getting to the point. I know when I was looking earlier at models, there's a point where the storms start to drift a little bit too far north of the instability.
Let's actually take a look at some of the ingredients. There's your gradient, your mixed level gradient, and it's a bit, there's still some MU cape. Interesting, Matt. You can look at that little low level jet that's been pumping up your storm there in north central Indiana.
It's an interesting look, John.
Yeah.
Don't know if I remember seeing models with that odd of a look.
Nope. That explains a lot, though.
Yep. That is a strange looking low level jet. John, looking at the cell, let me make sure I'm on the right radar. That cell that has moved away from Tippecanoe County, southwestern Florida, looks like it's lost its rotation that it had, John.
I agree.
It's kind of gone at this point.
Yeah, it looks like it's collapsing, in all honesty.
So good news for some of you folks, again, just south of Delphi, southwest of Florida. The storm, John, at least that has my interest, at least from a rotation standpoint, it's a storm just south of LaFontaine, north of Marion, north of Sweetser.
Yep, I see that there. It's looking a bit better.
Molly, well south of Indianapolis.
Here. Jamie, I just took a quick look there. I agree. I do believe it's cycling. You can notice that area of rotation started to shift north back up into the cell. So we'll need to watch for another hook to form in the next, a better air couplet is what I'm trying to say over the next 5 to 10 minutes. Yeah, Matt, this area I've circled in blue area, I'm seeing the rotation for this cell just along the Wabash Grant County line.
Keep an eye on it very closely. But seemingly, John, over the past, 15 minutes or so, the areas of rotation we were watching, obviously the storm by west of Bloomington, Illinois is still quite nasty. But the other cells we were looking at, John, seemingly we've lost a little bit of some rotation over the past 15 minutes or so.
I agree. I will say the cell that is now the severe thunderstorm warning for, I believe, Amboy and Converse. I'm not seeing as much rotation, but I do think there can certainly be some 50 to 60 mile per hour gusts within this particular storm, from what I can tell on radar, especially in this zone right here in my blue circled area. Likely some small hail as well, pushing into this zone.
Okay. Well, seemingly good trends for us, John. Last couple scans. Again, the two storms that have my attention, just southeast of Wabash, approaching Huntington County, southwestern Huntington County. And then the obvious storm west of Bloomington, Illinois. Man, John, that is... it's hard to find a more textbook-looking supercell than that.
Anita, you talking about Bloomington, Illinois, or Bloomington, Indiana? Bloomington, Indiana doesn't have any concerns. This would be for Bloomington, Illinois.
Oh yes, Bloomington, Illinois.
And it does appear that, in my opinion, that tornado has likely lifted and it's trying to, here's what we need to watch for. There's a couple different things I can see happening. Perhaps some additional development right here, but what I think more than likely is since it's cycling, we'll see another type of a hook or appendage come out on its backside and start to wrap around again. So that's what we're watching closely. It's moving slow enough where we can, as it develops, we can keep a very close eye on this for Bloomington, Illinois, and see if it can do that again. I would, in my opinion, it out ahead, it's got an environment, it's got more potential to keep producing tornadoes and large hail. Although we're going to start to see likely some weakening here, Matt, I think in the next hour and a half.
Lose maybe a little bit of instability. The only problem, John, the only counter, as we lose instability, our upper level winds are going to start increasing. So
battle there. Yep.
It'll be a bit of definitely a battle of ingredients at that point. John, I would say definitely overall the cells east of Lafayette over Flora, Delphi, definitely have seemed to weaken over the past couple scans. Losing a little bit of lightning, so good news there.
I would tend to agree. Matt, this cell northeast of Kokomo, I would be open to a second opinion. I see we're getting farther away from the radar. To me, that's more of a downburst, gusty type of look to it. I don't think it's actually rotating in terms of a tornado risk.
No, in my opinion, John, not yet.
Yeah. So, Matt, I want to go ahead and show real quick, take a break from the current radar and show our most up-to-date thinking for the simulated radar to give everyone an idea of what we're looking at, especially northern Indiana, northern Illinois, northern Ohio, southern Michigan. A few of you that are watching on Clarity specifically that I did include in that most recent push when I announced this. You can see the upper right-hand corner. Let me zoom in a bit more. There we go. In terms of radar, Matt, and models have not, been fantastic, but I don't have a lot of disagreements with this, perhaps a bit too busy into northern Ohio. But as we continue to increase into the later evening hours, 10 p.m. Central, 11 p.m. Eastern, this particular model is quite aggressive, Matt, at seeing additional activity developing in central Ohio and central Indiana. I can't say I disagree with the chances, but I don't think any of this activity is going to be strong or severe. I think that window has closed, in my opinion. For those of you that are in northern Indiana, northwestern Ohio, there are some signals for some smaller hail, perhaps a few stronger gusts. But I do think once we get later into the evening, we start to lose our tornado risks. North central Illinois, you will be dealing with an eventual line of storms, or broken line rather, that is going to start to push in. And I will shift back over to the west. You can see that line that's gradually going to be in play in northeastern Missouri, eastern Iowa. I think the risks for you are likely going to continue. We can continue to see at least some large hail and wind gusts through the late evening in these zones, but that line of storms, as it pushes to the east, I think we'll have another round of some damaging wind potential as well. So it's going to be quite an active night for thunderstorms in the northern half of Illinois, with several rounds of strong to potentially severe thunderstorms. For those of you that are in central Indiana, southern Ohio, I'm not favoring any strong to severe risks with this particular activity into the overnight hours specifically.
Someone asked about Brookville, Indiana. It's just a little stronger storm. No tornado in it. Wind, gust, and hail. And John, there is in southern Indiana a few cells trying to get going.
Yep.
So, what that model showed later on this evening, central Indiana, probably not Probably not too wrong, I would imagine, John.
But as you can tell here, very, very isolated in nature. We do have a couple cells, Matt. I do want to talk about northeastern Ohio as well. So I did include them in the push for some of those more locally stronger storms. Looks like a little bit of some small hail here.
Nothing tornadic.
Nope, nothing tornadic at all.
John, continue to see rotation there. That cell north of Marion. That's the cell that has my interest. It's just now getting into the far southwestern Huntington County. Looks like it would kind of hug the southern part of the county towards Warren. Near Lancaster.
This appears to be the area where at least according to KIWX, your stronger rotation or couplet is.
Yep, there it is.
Yep.
John, it almost looks like it's is it moving more right? Just looping it. That's what it looks like to me.
Yep, based on the rotation.
Yeah.
Matt, same issue you had with radar scope yesterday. Mine's starting to get a little laggy.
Yeah. It's having. John. I'm actually on my phone right now assessing it because
Sure.
on my laptop it's extraordinarily buggy.
Yeah, the cell itself, guys, is trying to move more northeast, but I agree this area of rotation, just so I don't confuse anybody as we look over this, is moving more parallel to that county border area, approaching the I border.
Towards Van Buren, towards Warren, those would be the areas I would be kind of alert for that area of rotation. That may be one, John, we may want to look into next couple scans and see if we need to do a BAM tornado warning for that particular cell.
I agree.
Galveston, the storm passed to your east. Kokomo, the storms are now to your north and to your east. Huntington, storm's going to pass south of Huntington. It's far southern portions of Huntington County, Amanda.
Matt, this will be an interesting one to watch. So the rotation area is pushing from west to east. There is a situation though, or scenario, and that's why I've included closer to Warren, where it can still shift a bit more to the northeast. So when I'm saying that the area of rotation is moving due east, this does not mean that for these locations got to use a color that people can see. This does not mean that you're out of the woods by any means for some of these rotating storms. We just need to watch this cell, I would say, for the next couple of scans. Lancaster, I would favor more of a hail concern at this point. 746, Warren 807.
John, Bloomington's now in a tornado warning.
Okay.
Bloomington, Illinois. Let's go back over to that particular cell and take a look.
Just stand by, Matt. There we go. Perfect. And we got another cell here by Havana to the east that's also popping up as well.
Or to the west. Yeah.
Did I say east? I'm sorry.
You did. We'll forgive you on that one, John.
Matt, I think this is a good tornado warning. So what we're seeing is the hook is trying to redevelop just to the southwest of Danvers. And I would expect that to start to push more eastward as a result, at least the area of rotation. Even so, regardless of how this is looking on radar now, Bloomington, Illinois, Normal, Illinois, Carlock, Danvers, I would say the only area that I somewhat disagree with is I don't think Stanford. I'm not as worried about Stanford, Illinois at this point. But the rest of you, heed that tornado warning. Seek shelter at this time as that's approaching. I'm going to do a quick timer on the rotation. I believe we were still getting about 25.
And John, looks like the team did end up putting a BAM tornado warning on that cell into southern Huntington County.
Okay. We'll shift back there. Here's latest on timing. Bloomington, 7:13 Central. 7:13 Central. If you're in Danvers, continue to keep an eye on the radar. I know I don't have you currently included, but Danvers would be close to around 650 Central. Let me
go ahead. If you're in the path of that storm, gosh, go ahead and seek shelter. I mean, that storm has been the nastiest storm of the day, and it's not even close. John, so far Iowa's, I'll tell you, off in Iowa, it just looks.
It has not been much to talk about yet.
Hope our meteorologist Hope Clyde, she was pretty pessimistic on that, but still some time there into southeastern Iowa.
Matt, with this cell, I am seeing a slight intensification of the hail core right here, pushing east.
Okay, this
can be a sign.
Could be a sign.
Some increased lightning. Rotation is looking better. Or let me rephrase that. I know that's not a great term. Rotation is tightening. We're a bit more concerned about the strength in your rotation, which currently resides. It's continuing along the county border area. It's shifted slightly to the east-northeast. If you're in Warren, Indiana, especially Warren, Indiana, I would go ahead and proactively get ready to go to your shelter, seek shelter with that BAM tornado warning. We'll need to watch this cell closely as it shifts a bit more to the east-northeast. Van Buren, I think that downtown Van Buren, this should stay to your north.
But if you're north of Van Buren, along the county border, those will be areas. If you happen to live in that area, go ahead and be safe and seek shelter. Oh, there's the National Weather Service tornado warning, John.
Okay, yep. New tornado warning has been issued by the National Weather Service. Very similar to our area, if not exactly the same. I think there's a little bit northeasterly. Very well done by NOAA on that.
Yep.
And I'm waiting for that to pop up here.
Any day now. Also, hail 1 inch, John, on that particular tornado warning.
There we go. Now it's flashing.
Gabriel, we're looking in Indiana, man. We're looking in northern Indiana though. I'm not sure where you're at.
Kokomo, you should be done for tonight. There can still be a few isolated thunderstorms, but not concerned about severe. Let's go ahead and get a timer on this once again.
Okay, perfect. And John, while you do that timer, after this, let's shift back into Illinois. They did just issue a new tornado warning north of Mason City, Illinois. It's the cell west of Bloomington that you were kind of mentioned. Muncie, Indiana will be well to your north.
All right, Warren, Indiana, still around 8:06 Eastern. Lancaster, I would favor Lancaster, Indiana. You're more than likely going to see some hail and stronger gusts. And you are Bluffton, Indiana, you are not under a tornado warning at this time, but this would be 8:38, so about an hour out as we watch this cell as it pushes to the east. Rotation fairly, I would say it's tightening here, Matt, on this particular cell.
Yeah, it's a bit concerning.
Yep. Johnson County's good. A few isolated pop-ups later this evening. No real concerns there. Okay, so I do want to quickly check, Matt, on this tornado warned cell before I move back down to Forest City. Forest City and Green Valley again, Matt. That was the same track as the earlier cell.
Justin Master says sirens going off in La Fontaine. Well, the rotation's to your east. It's a county over at this point.
Matt, I have good news. I am not seeing any strong rotation west of Bloomington, Illinois. Continue to heed that tornado warning. Stay in shelter. We still have some potential for it to try to rehook, but it's getting more disorganized as of the past couple of scans. So that's good news for the moment with this particular cell that we have approaching Bloomington, Illinois. New tornado warning: Forest City, Green Valley, San Jose, all under this tornado warning. Hail, my goodness, I would say we're starting to get close again to that. These storms in central Illinois have had a history of producing 2-inch diameter hail. And with this intensifying cell, I think our Clarity hail tracks, which you can have access to as well if you scan the upper right-hand corner, that QR code. And even though with that latest update showing we're getting just above golf ball sized hail with that particular cell, approaching Forest City and Green Valley once again. The rotation, Matt, is a bit broad.
I was thinking the same thing, John, actually. I still would heed the tornado warning. No point of not. John, it almost seems to me, too, that rotation's almost a little bit, it's like too far north, it seems. Regardless, if you're in a path of that tornado warning, don't play around with it. Storms in that area have at least had a history of having strong rotation at the very least. And there's at least some in it. So
for sure. And I think over the next 15 minutes, it may have a little bit better potential to develop a hook. I think it needs more time to mature. But again, the tornado warning, I think preemptive, anticipating some additional tightening.
Gosh, and I continue to see, John, that storm north of Marion. John, it may flirt with northern Van Buren, just looking at the rotation.
Starting to expand a little to the south.
But Van Buren, Warren.
Well, Matt, this is an interesting thought behind this. It's a bit further away from the Indianapolis radar, but the Indianapolis radar's got a clearer shot of its southern edge. So I sense that I still think it stays north of Van Buren. I think it might be the northern Indiana's radar scanning a bit more into the hail core. So I do think Van Buren, just be mindful that it's going to be close, but I think it stays north still.
Well to your north of Whiteland, well to the north of Shelby County. John, that storm I know we were watching earlier by at this point now it's in northwestern Benton County. I mean, looks like some hail, but don't see anything crazy from a rotation perspective.
Nope, I don't see it either. Matt, we have not spent any time in northeastern Ohio, and I do want to mention we have a couple of flash flood warnings that are ongoing from these cells, in addition to some strong to severe risks further to the south. Not seeing any rotation immediately here. I think the surface winds are too light, but these flash flood warnings are sources radar gauge here of a couple inches of rain within the past few hours for these locations. And notice if you're in northeastern Ohio, south of Mansfield, southwest of Canton, they're moving straight west to east. So multiple rounds of heavy rain and thunderstorms.
Yeah, John, in that area especially, just they've gotten slammed lately.
Yep.
You know, just very prone for flash flooding issues.
Yep. Especially when you are issued flash flood warnings, also bear in mind PM commuting, typical low-lying roads, or you know your communities that you know are the roads flood a bit easier in the valley areas. That those are certainly considerations to keep an eye on.
Continue to see the rotation, southern Huntington County. I think that tornado warning is still very valid. So again, if you're in that tornado warning towards Warren, it looks like, John, the area of rotation's about ready to approach the interstate as we speak. So if you know anyone kind of driving in those parts, northeastern Indiana, it may not hurt to give them a quick ring. Yeah, it's southeast of Wabash, that storm we're talking about.
Matt, this is what I'm seeing on a directional. It still looks like it's heading towards just maybe to the north of Warren and about to cross I-69.
Yep. If you live out ahead of that storm towards Warren, go ahead, seek shelter. Someone asking about Monticello. You look fine right now. Don't see anything of concern. Nasty storms, John, still off into Illinois. I know we mentioned the storm west of Bloomington. Thankfully, it's lost some of its rotation. Still, I think, John, if you're in the path of that tornado warning, I would say, especially at this point, John, it's seemingly north of Bloomington, based off the path of this Danvers
Yes.
Carlock.
It does look like it's struggling to find the same intensity that it originally had, which is of course good news, but we're still dealing with some low level rotation, very light at this point. I don't know, Matt. It may try to hook again. If it's going to do it, it's got to be in the next 10 minutes. That's kind of its window of opportunity. I think it's probably got one more left in it, but thankfully not quite as intense. I do want to bring attention to that cell that prompted the tornado warning issuance just south of Forest City.
Yeah.
We did have a report of a funnel cloud just about 10 minutes ago from a train spotter. And now we're getting, well, that was older. That was an older report. This one that I have, I think those are older reports. Never mind, Matt.
John, you know, in terms of that particular cell, I see some decent rotation just south of Forest City, and the hail looks unbelievable in that storm.
Yeah.
In fact, what the tornado warning's for 2 inches.
2-inch hail, and the hail tracks that we have on Clarity line up with that. DBZs of over 70. Oh, wow. Actually, hail tracks are showing closer to baseball-sized hail.
Golly.
Hail now going south of Forest City, north of Easton.
Yeah.
Which given
I believe it, John. I mean,
yeah.
It's hard to get radar turns to get much more intense than what they look like.
There's your lightning overlaying with the hail tracks. A lot of lightning, especially off and around the core of the storm. I'm curious to see if I turn off lightning, how my correlation looks. Bit of a drop there. Kaylor, I did just see your message. So as far as I know, Bluffton is not yet under a tornado warning. It's in my red areas. I wanted to provide, just as we get closer to 8:30, 8:40, this particular cell is the most strong to severe we have in the state. So let's just keep an eye on it there. Bluffton right now is not under the tornado warning.
It's worth watching because it looks like it's heading that way, John.
Yes. Yep. I agree.
And so we've been getting 25 miles per hour of that.
Mm-hmm.
It's about 19 miles out. So I don't know what time do you have on there, John?
8:30, 8:38 Eastern.
Perfect. That's about exactly the time I'm getting, John.
Excellent.
Yep. So 8:38, Kaylor. Yeah, that's the one as far as Indiana's concerned about the only show in town, John, so to speak. Illinois, John, I don't know if you would agree, but I still don't see a significant amount of rotation west of Bloomington. I hope it stays that way. There's still a hook on it. It still has me concerned, John, just to look of it on reflectivity. Forest City, Illinois, nasty hail. And I do see some rotation just southeast of Forest City. So if you're towards Green Valley, maybe just a little bit south even. Once again, Delavan, John, is kind of in the path of that storm. They've already they were near that first one.
Matt,
let's go ahead and seek shelter.
Matt, something I'm noticing on this cell too. Notice how it's really started to now lift all of a sudden to the northeast. It's like it's lost its contact with the surface there. It's no longer like those two radar scans. It is moving due northeast. So I think that's a good sign.
Promising.
Yes. Let's watch this for another five, maybe 10 minutes. This is the only area where we can maybe see some additional hooking to be possible, but that would then be quite far away from the core of the storm. I don't think it can maintain a rotation like that in this environment for very long.
Well, John, the storm south of Lancaster, Indiana, just continues to have the rotation.
Yep.
Just keeps on at it. Again, if you're towards Warren, go ahead and seek shelter. It's starting to flirt with the interstate as we speak.
I was looking to see if we had anybody under any potential chasers or spotters underneath there.
Yeah, John, I would imagine at the very least, if someone's driving along I-69 right now, they probably at least see a wall cloud. Yep, that's the area we're watching closely. I don't see, and maybe someone in the comments, maybe you've got a stream pulled up. I don't know if there's any chasers, any confirmation of visuals on the ground. I've yet to hear any or see any, John, personally.
Yeah, I haven't.
Certainly the rotation's there, and when we've got the tornado warning, we warned it as well. So again, heed those warnings. Storm right along a warm front. Those would be the storms to watch. The storm to watch, that is.
Well, we got another strong storm statement that popped up just northwest of Dayton, Ohio.
Okay.
For anybody watching from there, this would likely be another. It looks like half inch hail and 40-mile-per-hour gusts. These cells are a bit weaker further to the south compared to where it's closer to the warm front, but they still can pack some at least isolated stronger gusts, hail, but very localized in nature.
Trevor, no comment.
So much I want to say, Trevor, but yeah, as Matt said, no comment. Barbara, I am not anticipating any concerns for downtown Indy. You should be good. Enjoy the seeing a group you haven't seen since middle school.
Who is it, John?
Barbara asking about Indy.
Who's playing in Indy?
Granddaughter and family going to see a group she hasn't seen since middle school, and she's now 24. So
I thought you knew who was playing. Okay.
Nope. Yeah, Jolie, that's the cell we're watching. So I've watched a couple more of these scans. In my opinion, the tornado warning should be lifted for Bloomington, Illinois, and Normal, Illinois in the next couple of minutes. The last few radar scans continue to show this cell lifting. Actually, that's not right either. Lifting more towards the north, and that's because it's lost its sustained rotation at this point. So it's no longer moving. I feel very confident now in saying this is no longer moving east. There are certainly additional storms that we need to track. I've been watching another cell that may be trying to develop just southeast of Morton, although it's very weak and disorganized. And of course, this hailer near Forest City and Green Valley, that would be another hour and a half to the southwest. So the risks for hail and tornadoes are not out of the question, but that specific cell, that tornado warning for Bloomington and Normal, I expect that to expire and or be removed very shortly.
Yeah, John, she said her sister's on the border of Normal and Bloomington. That storm, to be honest, John's going to pass north.
Yep, and you can see that as well. New severe thunderstorm warning. Notice the orientation now is from southwest to northeast, and that's going to be for large hail and 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. And let's loop this radar. You can see where it passes by Hopedale and Stanford, and then it begins to fade right at this point and then start to push further to the north. So good news for Bloomington, Illinois with this particular round, Matt.
Yep, absolutely. I think they dodged a little bit of a bullet. John, I don't know if you have yet or not. And if you hear barking in the background, my apologies. You never know what's going to go in the background. It could be my daughter. It could be my dog. But that storm southeast of Forest City, the rotation itself, John, looks like it's starting to make a little bit more of a right turn towards Delavan. And the fact that it is a little right turny, the rotation has me at least a little concerned. And there's even a little hook, a little notch southeast of Forest City. I don't know if you've timed that particular cell out, but it may be good for folks who are in the path of that if they're watching to get a sense of the timing of that storm.
Yep, let me take a look. I do see that now, Matt, on the rotation. From a cell structure standpoint, however, if you look at it on reflectivity, it does look like it's starting to lose some of its shape, and I think that can be attributed to remember that low level jet that we were watching earlier streaking across central Illinois and central Indiana. I think that shifted more to the east. So I'm wondering if that's starting to affect these cells ability to rotate and tighten as quickly as before. I don't know. We'll need to watch it for sure. I'm getting about 22 miles per hour on that cell.
Okay.
And I will time out the area of where we see the rotation and the hail core. Does look like that tornado warning has been updated and shrunk now to include that the southeastern part of that cell. San Jose 7:24 Central, Emden, and remember you subtract an hour because it's Eastern time, 7:45 Central, Delavan 7:26, Hopedale 7:46, and then Dillon and Tremont 7:33 and 7:44 would continue to expect more of a hail risk versus tornado. I would say that it's difficult to see. How about I do green? Nope. Let me draw this. The blue dashed line, I'll make it green. We can see it better. If you are south right now, south of this line, that's where the greater tornado concern is, based on where we are noting some of that rotation, starting to push more eastward.
Guys, if you know anyone in the path of some of these storms we're talking about, or if you've enjoyed the stream or find any help in the stream, please like, comment, share. It would be greatly appreciated. On that note as well, what John's using, he's using our Clarity applications where all our forecasts go out to clients. Again, we're much more than just these lives that you may see. We've been sending out forecasts throughout the day today, yesterday, the day before, 24/7, around the clock. Forecasters. We have a whole team of forecasters. So we got that QR code in the top right-hand corner. Be sure to scan it, check it out if you're interested in signing up for Clarity. And so on my team will put the sign-up link in the comments as well. But we recommend you guys checking us out, whether you run a business, or you need more weather information, more personalized weather information. This is the application for you.
Matt, I just took another look at this cell that is now approaching the area of rotation, now approaching Warren. There is still rotation on it. I would say it's broad and it is weakening. It's still there. You still need to be in shelter if you're in Warren, Indiana. But I am starting to see evidence that this is beginning to weaken a bit more. So we'll watch a few more frames. But it just has that, even on reflectivity, Matt, that it's starting to fall apart a bit more.
Still some rotation there. Looks
Yep.
like it's now east of the interstate at this point. Rotation would be Warren would be on your doorstep. I would still seek shelter.
Yes, I agree.
Be safe with it. John, not to change the subject too quickly from that particular storm by Warren, but interesting now northwest of Bloomington by Carlock, Illinois. It's where that tornado warning is still in place. Just looking at it from velocities and the rotation, may have some rotation trying to redevelop there, John, by Carlock. Yep. I can't tell if that's maybe a little bit interference with a cell maybe just trying to form, or if that's indeed kind of a renewed area of rotation.
It's tough to say. It's definitely trying to hook right here once again. But it is being very quickly, the core of the cell being lifted to the north. Rotation's still pretty broad, but I agree that Carlock, Illinois specifically, we need to watch this cell very closely. If you're in Hudson or Kappa, I think Hudson's going to be on the southern fringes of this. I think based on its orientation, it would be more north of Hudson, more towards Kappa. We need to be watching for that large hail and tornado risk. Matt, there's another cell right to its west too, south of Deer Creek. I feel like we've said Deer Creek a lot today. North of Mackinac.
Yeah, I see that, John. Yeah, unfortunately,
it's weaker. Definitely another cell on its own, if you will. I am not impressed on the rotation. Just southeast of Forest City, northwest of San Jose. This tornado warning, there's still some there, but it looks more like a hailer to me. We'll keep an eye on it.
Yep. If you're in that tornado warning, again, like I've said in a couple of these, just go ahead and seek shelter.
Yep, and when we're narrating here, guys, when I'm just going through each of the tornado warnings, please know I'm not advocating for everyone to get out and shelter. I'm just simply, hopefully, sharing good news when we start to see those cells and rotations weaken. But we're just relaying the facts as us as meteorologists look over each particular cell.
John, that storm area of rotation is starting to get towards the end of that tornado warning.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be curious if it gets extended because I still see the area of rotation now moving into southeastern Huntington County. I wouldn't be shocked, John, if they do extend that warning.
They did just expire. It looks like it was allowed to expire.
Okay.
It's tough to say, Matt. There's enough little couplets in there that I certainly would consider one. It's getting a bit messy. I'm sure there's some hail in there that's not helping, but yeah, I'd be curious to see if they can what they do here. I was going to look, Matt, how much longer do we have on the tornado warn cell? Looks like that just expired. That was just allowed to expire as well.
Did they allow that one to expire, the one by Warren?
Yes.
Again, John, I still see some rotation with that. May need to. I don't know. I still see some rotation. If you're east of Warren, just east of that tornado warning, it may not hurt to seek shelter for a little bit, just to play it safe, because I still see some rotation there in southeastern Huntington County. Just worth keeping an eye on at this point.
Outside of that particular cell, Matt, it appears north central Indiana, stretching from Peru to Wabash, Huntington, southern Allen County. I'm not seeing any other signatures that are showing me any type of rotation or stronger gusts or hail at this point. I think pea-sized hail, it's more of a lower end, but right now, at least, on radar.
Yeah, John. My concern when I was making my forecast this morning is the storms moving north starting to get a little bit beyond the instability.
Yep.
And I wonder if we're seeing a little bit of that right now. Oh, the gradient's still there, John. They're still kind of on the edge of the warm front. So, guys, if you're just now kind of tuning in, I would say in general, overall, intensity has certainly kind of waned a little bit as of recent. Still a few storms we're keeping an eye on out into Illinois, just east of Carlock, Illinois. A little bit of rotation, all that's looking increasingly messy, John. Still some apparent rotation, John, south of Green Valley, Illinois, east of Forest City, where we do have a tornado warning ongoing. Even a flash flood warning, John, there in Illinois. So,
there we go. I just saw that as well. Yep.
So add insult to injury, unfortunately, in some of those areas that have been potentially a tornado or two in those areas, and some large hail, and now we've got flooding there. John, I'm looking by northwest of Bloomington, Illinois, and it's hard to tell at this point if it's rotation or if now we're just getting different movement of different cells next to each other. That may be what we're getting in this particular instance.
It does seem quite disorganized, and it's.
John, did they drop the tornado warning by Green Valley? That too is looking kind of sloppy on radar.
Yep, it does appear.
You can make an argument for some velocity rotation still there.
It does appear that they've dropped all of the tornado warnings. Excuse me while I reset this. Active for Illinois, Indiana, into Ohio. We are at this point, we'd have no longer any severe thunderstorm or strong storm statements in north central Indiana. A couple of isolated stronger cells western Ohio, and that line of training thunderstorms in the northeastern Ohio.
Renee, Eaton, Ohio. It's a stronger storm, half-inch size hail, 40-mile-per-hour winds. No rotation in that storm, so you don't need to worry about a tornado.
Nope.
What time is this going to hit Florida? John, I'll be honest with you. Outside of the obvious state of Florida, I'm not sure where Florida's at.
I believe he's referring to Florida, Ohio, because I do know there's a Florida, Ohio. Only because I got hit with storms. I believe is it northeast of Defiance? John,
if you know that, then kudos.
There it is. Yep. If that's the one Renee's talking about, yep. Or not, JA, excuse me. These cells in Fort Wayne, or just southwest of Fort Wayne, I think can get there probably after 10 o'clock. I'm very skeptical of them even holding severe or strong storm risks. Allison, Marion County, and Shelbyville is good. You're all good to go. No concerns.
Still a little bit of weak rotation there, John. Southeastern Huntington County about ready to cross over to the county east. My apologies. I don't know what county that is. Wells.
Yep.
Western Wells County. Some weak rotation still yet in that cell.
Yep, just a little bit right here.
Thank you. We have hail. Yep, that's the type of storm it is. A hailer. Looks like a decent little hail core in that storm by you, Renee.
Yep, probably just getting going. This will update here soon. At least pea-sized hail. Well, Matt, I say we keep an eye on this rotating aspect north of Bloomington, Illinois, and northeast of Warren. But after that, I think we can probably close up.
Yeah, let's give it a few more minutes. I want to keep an eye on some of these storms again by Delavan, Illinois, north of Bloomington, Illinois. That cell you mentioned by Warren, Indiana. John may have an area of rotation trying to get going by Pekin, Illinois, Hollis, Illinois. That's north of the Delavan storm.
Peoria again. Yep.
Looks pretty weak.
Yep. It's trying, but I see it.
So
area to watch here. Broad rotation, but it's
John, I've been periodically kind of peeking over in Ohio. A few stronger storms, obviously some heavy rain in some spots causing flooding, but not seeing anything in rotation that has my interest. Still that little area of rotation, John. It just won't lose that area of rotation northeast of Warren. Looks pretty broad, but
yep, it's guys, our team currently and then over the next few hours is going to be issuing nowcasts. Make sure to scan that QR code in the upper right-hand corner so that you can get those. They're not just regional based. Your Clarity app is location specific. So alerts, nowcasts, if it applies to you and it's impactful, you're going to get a notification one way or the other. And a perfect example of that today, we'll go through our severe map that was from 12 p.m. that our team put together. Based on where the cells developed from Peoria to Champaign, that has been the zone where we've seen all hazards in play: winds, hail, more than likely a few tornadoes in those zones. And Matt, your possible zone there, just east of US 31, that is, as those storms started pushing closer to Fort Wayne, they did start to get a bit weaker, at least outside of that Warren cell. So I'd say that is a very good forecast we have.
Not bad. Yeah, guys, and if you're interested in Clarity, QR code in the top right-hand corner, you can scan that, check it out. Someone on my team will put in the sign-up link in the chat as well. But tons of tools. Puts our whole team of meteorologists in your pocket, so to speak. John, real quick, that Delavan storm definitely has lost its rotation. So great news for some of you folks by Delavan. Rotation north of Bloomington continues to look, John, I'd say less than impressive at this point. So, again, good news. In the rotation, John, I was looking at by Peoria, doesn't look as impressive right now either.
No,
So
it does not.
This is all great news.
Very good news.
Yeah.
If we had to pick three cells, this one, of course, near Hudson, Kappa, El Paso, that is under a severe thunderstorm warning. But the rotation areas we were tracking to roughly circle these are quite weak and fading at this point. Your two cells to the west of Bloomington, Illinois, not under any warnings, certainly have attributes that are necessary for a stronger storm to be able to produce a gust of 40 and at least some small hail. But right now the rotation, not quite as impressive at this point, which yes, is very, very good news, especially as we get into the evening. Now remember, north central Illinois, your locations, we do have a line of storms that will work in after midnight that we will need to watch for at least some additional damaging wind risks. Although, well, it is developing. So that is definitely there, but it is quite, it does not look very strong at this point, Matt. We'll have to see what happens as it pushes further to the east. But this line extending from Des Moines to Kansas City, that's the later night round that will push into west central Illinois after midnight.
John, I thought we'd get a little bit more than what this is producing out in Iowa.
Yes, so did I.
Underwhelming thus far.
Yep.
John, more good news from me. How about that? I would say that area of rotation we've been tracking that's moving into western Wells County, while it's still there, it looks like that rotation is also weakening.
Yep.
Although, John, still present, just weak.
Just a little bit, yeah.
John, I say 8:30. Let's continue to keep a close eye on these, but I say around 8:30 we start to wind things down.
I agree. I expect this question at some point, so I'll go ahead and preemptively answer it. As these storms push to the north, Lafayette, Logansport, Monticello, Fowler, Paxton, Illinois, I do expect the tornado watches to eventually be lifted. So I know that those are still in play and in effect, but those should be lifted and expired here in short order. Central Illinois, I'm not sure how they're going to handle that with another round of storms. And given that there's still some broad rotation, I don't see any reason why at least Bloomington, Peoria, further to the north, that they're going to expire this right away.
John, I continue to be glued to the velocity scans here, looking for any rotation, and all good news, I would say, for folks who are still watching the stream and you're in the path of any of these storms.
All right, Matt, we've got a new MD that includes northwestern Indiana, their area for the tornado watch. I'm actually gonna put up their graphic, as I think this is a good way to display it. Greatest short-term threat, Lincoln. They're just currently talking about the watch through the evening hours. Rensselaer, Lafayette. In my opinion, I'm not really concerned about Lafayette and Logansport. I think that or locations. Let's see, that area would be, yeah, Attica, Covington. I would expect the tornado watch to be expired eventually. As these storms push to the northeast, I do think they can continue to maintain at least some strong to severe risks for hail and damaging winds. I think the tornado risk is going to continue to remain not zero, but it's going to be low end.
So I would agree, John.
Yep. Definitely not zero. I don't want to take tornado off the table. By no means am I doing that, but I think it's going to start to get much weaker than where we were at before.
Yeah, John, I don't know if you read the that mesoscale discussion. And mesoscale discussion is just something the National Weather Service will put out before they put out a watch or they want to discuss an ongoing watch. And John, the big part for me is they say it's been difficult to yield sustained low-level mesocyclones with greater tornado potential, and it's unclear if this scenario will amplify.
Right. Yep.
So they don't know.
Yep.
All right, John. I think we probably in a good spot to close up shop for the time being.
I agree. Let's do one last look at the radar. I will annotate a bit of what we have going on. Jesse, that city does not ring a bell in Indiana or Illinois. Are you talking in Ohio?
Maybe she was quoting Forrest Gump, John. Janae.
I just got it. I'm sorry. Uh,
I don't know, John. I have no idea.
All right. North Central Illinois is currently the area of greatest interest with that active tornado watch. A few strong to even severe thunderstorms will continue to push to the northeast. I do expect the damaging wind hail risk to likely be more prominent, but there will continue to be a low end tornado risk. I'd say through at least 9:30 Central. Again, we'll continue to have Nowcast updating that. Make sure to scan that QR code. You can see all of our graphics, our forecasts, and even with your business package, you can chat with us as well. Further to the east, we're tracking a couple of isolated stronger thunderstorms from Dayton to Columbus. Those are more hailers and some gusts of 40. And then the greater concern right now across north central Ohio is going to be more of these training cells. Of course, there's some small hail and damaging winds of 50, but I think the continued risk for heavy rain, an additional 1 to 2 inches, is going to make those flood-prone areas and low-lying susceptible roadways are going to be a concern, at least through the rest of the evening. Cells now approaching Fort Wayne, northern Indiana, towards Columbia City, eventually Defiance. We can watch for some stronger gusts, but I think as these continue to push to the northeast, Matt, they will gradually be losing their steam. A couple downpours south of Bloomington, south of Indianapolis. There are chances across central Indiana, southern Indiana throughout the evening. I'm not favoring any additional strong to severe risks with that particular activity. However, last thing I want to mention, and I will pull up the future radar. We are watching for an additional line of thunderstorms that has yet to be impressive, Matt, in terms of the strong to severe risk into southern Iowa and northern Missouri. But as this pushes eastward, after midnight, it will enter west central Illinois, posing some additional risks for some damaging winds before it gradually starts to weaken. Also note that there will be some rain chances continuing across central Illinois, central Indiana as we get into tomorrow morning as well. Although for those areas specifically, no strong storm risks. Jamie, appreciate it. Matt, you have any last thoughts here before we go ahead and get off this stream?
Well, a couple things before we go. One is at least storms of interest into the immediate short term. South of Peoria, there's at least some weak rotation in that storm south of Peoria towards Marquette Heights. And so that's one to watch. And John, maybe a little bit north of Hudson trying to get going. Looks like maybe a little bit of radar contamination, but there's something there north of Hudson as well from a rotation standpoint.
Let's see. Yeah, it's still trying. That one I buy.
John, how about before we go, give some folks a timing out ahead of this. For folks out ahead, or if you're curious, as John kind of timed some of this activity out before we depart, we'll be tracking this all night long. Even when we get off the stream, we've got a whole team that's going to be devoted to looking at this and tracking this and sending out nowcasts. If you want ability to access that QR code in the top right-hand corner, you can scan that code. Some of my team, if you scroll up just a little bit in some of the comments, we'll put in the sign-up link as well. But we'll be sending out nowcast alerting. Depending on what package you get, you can even get the ability to message us directly in the application as well. And so we'll be tracking this all night long. So even when we get off the stream, we're still going to be live. We're still going to be working, just not on social media per se. John, I guess if things do start to hit the fan, so to speak, maybe we'll get back on, but I don't see that as a likely scenario. But the two storms that have my interest south of Peoria, and then north of Hudson. Those are about the only the storms that have my interest ongoing right now. And I suppose, John, through the evening, those are the storms especially to watch.
Yep.
Through the evening, but they have, since we first started the stream, the intensity of those storms has backed off quite a bit. So that's good news there, but still some risks to watch with those particular storms.
And just to call out a few times here, subtract 1 hour. This would be your 7:48 Central, your 8:03 Central, and your 8:18 Central for this area with the rotation that's being noted along the leading edge. The reason that I'm not the severe thunderstorm warning El Paso Kappa, that's going to be due to the potential for some large hail of quarter size at this point, but it's the rotation that we need to watch.
And strong wind gusts, John.
And strong wind gusts too. Yep, some 50 to 60 mile per hour, certainly not out of play. And then I will time out this Peoria cell. Very similar speed.
And John, ever since I've said that the rotation by Peoria, it's lost it in the latest scan. So,
well, it's all right. We can still give folks an update for it. Washington 7:57 Central, Eureka 8:19, Roanoke 8:25, Benson 8:35. Washington, Eureka. Let's just keep an eye on the southern edge of the cell as it pushes to the northeast. That would be areas of some rotations that are now just between Bartonville and Marquette Heights.
Perfect.
Matt, that's all I got.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us tonight. Appreciate you all. Again, probably some more active weather later this month. So this may not be the last time you guys see us before the month ends. So appreciate everyone greatly. Be sure to check out Clarity. And again, appreciate you all.
Absolutely. Thanks, Matt. You have a good rest of your weekend.
You as well, John. See